Go. Hello, everyone. Today we have with us for another enjoyable and inspiring conversation Dr. Tara Wade from the University of Florida. Tara, so much for joining us today. Um, I ask all my guests to introduce themselves. So why don't you tell us a little bit about you, including a fun fact?
Okay, I'm Tara Wade. Thank you for having me, Simanti. I am a natural resource economist with the Food and Resource Economics Department at the University of Florida. I am housed at the Southwest Florida Research and Education Center in Immokalee, Florida. That's not in Gainesville on the main campus. It's about 4.5 hours from the campus. And I work mostly in extension, 70% extension, 30% research is my split. Most of my work has to do with conservation, practice adoption, and technology adoption by specialty crop farmers.
Fascinating. Those are things that I am really, really interested to work on as well. So, my next question to you is, what sparked your interest in environmental economics? And was there like a person or an event or something?
I did, I wouldn't say there was a defining event, but there was a person. I always had a love for animals and the environment, and I wasn't clear how to apply that. My background is in math, so I have a master's in mathematics, and I wasn't sure where to take it. And then
Mhm.
I found an interdisciplinary program in energy and environmental systems at North Carolina A&T State University. That's where I got my master's, and that's where I got my PhD. And one of the required courses was resource economics.
Uh,
It was my first real introduction to economics. And then the instructor, later my mentor and advisor, she also had a master's in math. And that's when I realized I could do economics, you know, and had a knack for it, and that my math skills served me very well in getting a degree with economics. So my degree is actually in energy and environmental systems with a concentration in economics, but all my work and publications have been in natural resource economics.
wow. All the different ways in which we get to where we are at this point of time, right?
Yes, yes.
Fascinating. You mentioned that you do a lot of work in extension. Can you tell us a little bit about your professional trajectory, especially and share more about, your work in extension? I just realized that, you are one of the first guests that I've had who does so much extension. So that is very exciting. I'm sure for our audience.
Okay, I can speak some to that. So after my master's, I taught for a few years, and I really loved math. I did math because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, but I knew I loved math. And I ended up teaching undergraduates. And the issue I had there when I realized that teaching math wasn't for me is because teaching undergrads, oftentimes I was the only one in the room that liked the material. And that became discouraging after a while. I knew I wanted a PhD, but did not want it in math. I figured I took math as far as I wanted it to go. And then, so I found the PhD program that I mentioned. I ended up doing a postdoc at USDA ERS. And that really helped to prepare me for extension. So I mentioned I have a 70% extension, 30% split. And ERS, while I was there, I worked with Roger Klassen,
Mhm.
and I found it to be very close to extension type work in that we worked on some reports. We worked on journal articles, but we also worked on those reports. And those reports are very similar to extension documents in that they need to be accurate. Yes, everything we do needs to be accurate, but it really matters for lay audiences and extension type audiences that what you're producing is the truth. Like it has to be
Mhm.
accurate. And then it has to be easy to read. So no matter how technical the topic is, it really has to be easy to read. And while it may not be obvious in an academic setting, and ERS is designed like an academic institution, you do have to consider how your work what it is you're doing, how you are communicating it, how it might affect the stakeholders.
Mm-hmm.
That is something that it's not going to drive what you're doing, but that needs to be a consideration as well. And I really took those things away during ERS, my time at ERS, and applied that to my work in extension.
Awesome. And what kind of work do you do now? Like, are there, so that this is also one of my questions for you is there a project that you are working on which is very exciting from an extension and or research perspective, and what has been your learning in that project?
My extension exciting project is not the same as my research exciting project.
We
And
want to know about both.
so maybe they will lead into that, but right now, because the research part is new, I'll talk about the extension. I started working on cover crops at ERS, and I never got enough of it. I never did
Mhm.
everything I wanted to do with cover crops. And working in extension and at a research center, you get exposed to a lot of different disciplines, and there are
Mhm.
opportunities to collaborate with several other disciplines.
That's
And I was
right.
able to do that a lot with my cover crop work. So we had a project that was led by someone else, someone from a soil scientist, and we're looking at cover crops in citrus, and that blossomed into a whole program. One that was looking at cover crops and other practices that helped with soil health. So we did some budget work, tedious work, not fun work, not work that economists really think of, but they are really the types of questions that people outside of our field are asking.
Mhm.
Literally, what does it cost? I never usually answered that question in my research. It's more about behavior and what affects behavior and what are the implications from people's behavior, but not a dollars and cents what things cost. And for extension, that's where they find value. That's how you're able to communicate economics to other people. Money is a universal language. So if you can break down what you're doing into an actual cost, it helps a lot. So we put a lot of effort into doing that for cover crops. And there were also applied economics articles that came out of there and interdisciplinary articles that came out of that work. So, students worked on that, postdocs worked on that, and we had a nice program that came out of it.
What you say about extension, it's I have never heard anyone kind of say it that way, but when you say it that way, that makes so much sense to me that we want to be accurate, we want to be scientifically rigorous, but the audiences that we are speaking to are very, very different. And
Yes.
stakeholders mostly care about costs. They may care about innovative research as well, but ultimately they care about costs.
They absolutely care about innovative research, but I would say the difference between our academic journals and what we produce in these extension documents or to an extension audience, someone will likely use what it is
Mm-hmm.
you are producing. And if they're going to use it, whether it be in their homes or on their with their businesses, it's going to affect their life. So it needs to be something that people can use. And with that, it needs to be accurate because it can harm if it's not. And then there's a certain weight that comes with your name when you attach it to your PhD and your institution.
That's right.
Trust everything that you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want to violate that trust by not paying attention to details or promising something that you cannot deliver or telling them that it's something that cannot be applied to them. You really have to be careful in how you describe what you're doing and how you deliver the information.
In some sense, if I might say, science communication is very important because there is that element of trust
Yes.
that comes with it.
Yes.
Awesome. I'm going a little bit off script now, but you talked about your interactions with a lot of people from other disciplines. Can you talk a little bit about what that looks like and how has that been beneficial for you?
It's been extremely beneficial. There are grants that I'm a part of that I would never have considered. So In extension, as an economist and working with different disciplines, the first thing I found that I had to do, I would even say the first challenge that I had is that people don't understand what economists do. They think they do, but they really don't understand what economists do. So there's a lot of calls for social scientists to be on these natural science grants, on these pure science grants. And when they think of an economist, they think of budgets and they think of dollars and cents. You really have to sell your value to the PIs. You have to explain to them what the potential of their project is once you get involved, how
Hmm.
expanded once you get involved,
I
how
love that. How, like the potential of their project once you get involved. Oh, that is awesome. I'm going to steal that line.
oh, go ahead because and you my experience is once you've done that, you can really write yourself into the grants and you can really take advantage of the grants. It then offers opportunities to publish in places that you wouldn't normally publish. For extension, that's helpful because you try and reach a broader audience.
Hmm.
But you try and cut your slice out. You try and make sure that, so I'm in academia, so I want to get tenure, so I need to publish in certain places. So you make sure that you write that in there as well. But then there are also opportunities to publish in, say, multidisciplinary journals that you wouldn't normally have if you're focused on purely econometrics or purely empirical work or theoretical work.
Fascinating. Yeah. This is like there's so much to take away from our conversation today. Um, Looking ahead, what do you think some of the most exciting developments we can expect in the next 10 to 15 years in the field of environmental economics?
I thought about this question and I tried to condense it best I could because I have there are lots of things, so I work in natural resources and for now I think we are quite niche in economics and maybe not so niche in agricultural economics, but we might not think of it that way, but looking at other disciplines, we are quite niche. I think we are becoming less so. We're seeing more and more studies, more grants that are incorporating economics and biophysical models, whether it be the biophysical models are, pushing the economics or the economics are pushing the biophysical models. But we're seeing those things being married more and more often now. And I think as the climate changes, there's going to be a switch in what the public wants to see. I think as the public is witnessing or suffering more losses because of climate change, that they will have more interests in the impacts on natural resources and ecosystems. And they will want to understand how those things are valued, how they're valued monetarily. And they'll want to understand mitigation and adaptation strategies. And that's where we can play a large role. I think there's a lot of potential for AI to help drive this in real time and offering, system-wide solutions to help incorporate economics into these system problems.
Mhm.
The time will come, and I think shortly, within the next 10, 15 years, when climate and the environment are regularly integrated into economic decisions and vice versa.
I should say that, I apologize for, saying environmental economics. In my head, natural resource and environmental economics are all like intermingled together, but I know that they are different. So thank you for, correcting me there. And you are absolutely right about the role of AI. Like, have you, in your own work or whatever things that you are interested in, thought about what that could look like?
Absolutely not. I have not done that. I am
Neither have I. Neither have I.
I am slow to change. I'm slow to adapt to these things, and I have not given it any consideration at all. Unfortunately, and I guess I feel like my plate is full doing the things that I like to do already, and I'm sure AI can enhance that. I just haven't taken the time to figure out how, and it's changing so fast.
Oh,
I don't
yes.
even keep up. Yeah.
Yes. It seems to me personally that every day I'm having a conversation with a friend or a colleague about the fast moving, AI landscape for
Mhm.
sure. Is there a new activity? I don't know, and you said your plate is full, but if you had the time, is there a new activity that you would like to pursue in the near future?
Yes, and it's tied to one of my new research interests. So recently I'm working with my postdoc on pollinate on beekeepers in Haiti.
Mhm.
I always wanted to work on pollinators and thought that my work in cover crops would lead me there. And it did not quite work out that way, except now I have a postdoc who has an interest in Haiti, and we did a survey on beekeepers in Haiti. So I'm really hopeful. I'm excited about this project. We have two papers that we're expecting to come out of there. I'm really looking forward to exploring projects that will allow me to use the skills and the knowledge I have in technology and conservation practice adoption in developing countries. And Haiti is really close to home for me. I'm from Jamaica, so I'm really excited to be able to apply what we're doing here in other places. It could very well lead to an extension program, but it's really fun work, and it's nice to do something that you can clearly see will help others.
Mm-hmm. Right, absolutely. Um, we all have areas where we can improve. Can you share with us today something that you would like to work on or are already working on to improve?
So I've identified several places, but I'll stick to the ones where I actually have a strategy to try and improve on. Um,
Fabulous.
so I would say um, writing is not I like to do, and
Hmm.
writing is a long process, and it's not I usually when I procrastinate, it's writing that I'm procrastinating. So what I've done is, excuse me, a friend slash colleague of mine. She's my writing accountability partner. And every week we meet for an hour and a half to write. It's really half an hour is chit-chatting, and then we have an hour that we spend to write. And that little bit, carving out an hour for the week, or even, or if you can, half an hour a day, just to move the needle a little bit is very, very helpful. The other thing is you know, we have, as faculty, we have students, we have staff, we have postdocs, we have other support. It's easy to get interrupted. And so what I've done is been very deliberate about carving out one day a week where I have no meetings.
Mhm.
There's some flexibility, of course, but that's usually a Thursday for me. I really try to avoid scheduling meetings on Thursday. It's one day where I can get some momentum, accomplish a few things. And the other thing, I think it's maybe a little bit personal, but I expect that a lot of people experience this, is that, you never feel like you're doing enough. You never feel, the to-do lists, you get one thing done and three things get added, and you just never feel like you're doing everything that you need to do or as much as you should be doing. So I actively try to acknowledge the small wins,
Mhm.
the smallest things, but not a big celebration, but just to actively acknowledge, all right, I got this one thing done or a part of this one thing done. So that's just so that I'm aware that things are happening, and maybe not at the speed that I want it to, but these things are happening.
All of this is so great because I will share with you. So this summer I participated in a month-long writing challenge
Oh,
through my
great.
university. I actually finished writing a paper.
In 1 month.
Well, some parts of it were written,
Yes.
and that really kept me on point. And I knew that I was in a team, and the more you wrote, so oh my God, it was so effective. So I completely understand about having like a time set aside weekly to write.
Yeah.
And so many people have shared with me this aspect of, oh, I love doing research, I hate writing.
Sounds
And
right.
it is a real challenge for sure. And that part about, protecting one day of the week, I
Mhm.
have thought about it. I have done it with varying levels of, efficacy. And that part about, I just love what you said about, celebrating the small wins. This might sound, I don't know what this says about me, that I actually put stuff on a list of things that I have to do just to strike it off and feel good about myself.
I think that's a common thing, actually. You have some people who, even if it's not on the list, they will put it on the list. If they did it before, they'll put it on there and strike it off. Just, yeah, I'm not one of those like you, but yes, it's we just need any little push. We can, otherwise we'll beat ourselves up a lot.
That's true. And I don't think economists are, I feel, one of the worst to follow their own advice. We are a field where we appreciate and, we harp on marginal thinking, but
Yeah.
we never, like, there is a concept called marginal benefit, but there is so little recognition of marginal benefits in our day-to-day lives,
Right?
like professional lives. So I love that. Um, Switching gears a little bit, looking back to your past work and interactions, if you could redo something, is there something that you want to redo? And if yes, what would that be?
I won't speak to something, super specific. I would say if I had the opportunity to take a course or get a certificate or learn strategies on how to manage people,
Hmm.
at some point, if you're a faculty or, whatever your career path is, as long as you're moving forward or moving up, you're likely to have to manage people. And they don't teach us that in school. You
No.
know, as faculty, you have postdocs, you have students, you have other support staff, especially in extension, you have other types of support staff. And not everyone is like-minded. Not everyone has the same work ethic that you do. Not everyone has the same drive as you do. I never developed, I've always tried to treat people the way I would like to be treated, but that is not necessarily enough to manage people. So I think I would take any opportunity that there was to do something like that, to some kind of management course or like a certificate or something to get some formal experience or some techniques on how best to manage subordinates.
That is awesome. Looking back, what is something that you wish someone had told you when you were starting out?
Oh, um,
You wish you knew.
I wish I knew how the sausage was made. You know, they don't tell you in grad school, you're going to be an accountant, you're going to be a manager, you're going to be doing bookkeeping, you're going to be writing grants all the time. And maybe then you get to learn something. Maybe then you get to do some research.
Mhm.
You don't get all of that. So a little bit more awareness of what you're diving into.
Yes.
All that. And I will say, doing a postdoc does help with that. So if
Mhm.
people have I'm seeing more and more economics or ag econ postdocs, and I tell people to take advantage of that.
Can you believe it? I was saying the very same thing to one of my graduate students this very morning.
Yes.
This morning, I was telling them that, and I have benefited immensely from doing a postdoc. I knew nothing when I graduated. I can completely say that without any shame or anything. Was, I just was kind of, I felt like, I was just drifting along. It
Mhm.
took me to actually do a postdoc to realize that, okay, I think I can do research,
Right.
right? Go on.
But I feel the same. So my position is heavy extension. I didn't have extension training.
Hmm.
Postdoc, and I think the value in that was you are for sure expert in something.
Hmm.
You come out of your postdoc being confident that you are an expert in this thing. That will give you a little bit of leeway when you get the five other things that you're absolutely clueless about, right? At least you have this one thing and you can spare the headspace for all these other things that are going to get thrown at you.
You are so correct. And you know what? I think if I can add to that, I feel that the postdoc actually allows you to internalize that feeling that you might as well be an expert in, like, this tiny thing.
Yes.
Because I distinctly remember during my defense, the day of my defense, a very nice faculty in my department said, "Remember, you know the most about this thing than anybody on the planet." That very small thing. And I was like, what is she talking about?
Right. It doesn't set in.
It does not. And so, in that sense, the postdoc really, really helps.
Yeah.
And I am really, my postdoc, I did my postdoc in the UK. And at that point of time, there weren't that many postdocs in the US. So,
Mhm.
at least in the US, for sure, it's really, in some sense, it's heartening for me personally to see so many of these positions now.
Yes.
For sure. Um, any other, do you have any guidance for early career scholars? Anything more to add to what you've already said?
It might sound a little abstract, but take time to reflect and plan.
Mm-hmm.
We're constantly doing, especially early faculty, all these different opportunities get thrown at you. You have these metrics to meet, or you're not sure what the metrics are. So you're just working yourself to the bone, doing everything you can. Take time, schedule the time to reflect and plan, whether that is once a year or every quarter, but make sure that be clear on the type of work you want to do,
Mm-hmm.
sure that the work that you are doing is going to lead you there. And that doesn't happen by chance. You really do have to stop and settle and reflect on what you're doing.
This is, yes, this is very true. This is very true and very profound. And I don't think this is abstract at all. I think this is very, very needed. Because I feel that if you are able to reflect and in some sense strategize, you
Yes.
are able to position yourself for
Mhm.
success now and in the future.
Yes, that's something I tell my students and my postdocs to do. It's like every January, they have to submit a strategic plan.
Oh, I love
I
that.
give them a template. It has details about what they're going to finish when. The timelines need to be reasonable. They have to submit a strategic plan, and then they need to go back and make sure and adjust it. As things change, they need to go ahead and adjust it. It's really helpful to put everything you're doing down and then
Hmm.
realize, this isn't helpful. I need to start saying no to this. I don't have funding to work on this type of work. Well, how will I get funding if I want to do it? How will I get that funding? Who do I need to partner with? But there's no time for that in the day to day if we're just constantly doing. And I did
Hmm.
a lot of that. I spent the first 3 years just doing,
Uh-huh.
not thinking about what I was doing, just doing. I would say, spend
Yep.
a few days and sit seriously and not on your vacation. Like this is a part of your work. Sit and do it. It's important. Schedule it if you have to.
Yes. Oh, that is so true. Absolutely. Well, my final question to you is, are you open to being approached by other researchers for collaborations or just any kind of interactions? And if that's the case, what's the best way to reach you?
Tara.wade@ufl.edu and feel free. I'm very happy to chat.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Tara, for this very, very, honest and insightful and inspiring conversation. You've said so many things that validates the kind of thoughts that I have. So I wish you all the best for, the future projects, especially the one on beekeepers in Haiti.
Very excited. Yes, Haiti.
Yeah. Haiti, exactly. Well, thank you and have a great day.
Thank you for having me. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye. Okay.